Legacy by Marc W. Johnson. Fade in. Exterior, New York, mountain, small campsite, night. A pot simmers over a small fire some distance from a tent. The tent unzips. Bill, 20s, on his cell, begins to emerge, grapples with the tent flap. He heads to the campfire.
Of course it's safe, Mom. Put Tyler's mobile on when you lay him down. All right, yeah. You raised 4 boys, I know. Okay. Kiss him for us. Love you too.
Bill pockets his phone. He stirs the pot. A content Emily, 20s, exits the tent in shorts and a top that attempts to hide the pudginess of leftover baby fat. Emily sits next to the fire, content. She soaks in the night. Bill grins as he dishes into a bowl.
So quiet.
Bill extends the bowl, cupped in both hands, bows.
Your supper, my lady?
Thank you, kind sir. Franks and beans. We are truly roughing it.
Play your cards right. There's another Frank and a couple of beans in your future.
Bill wiggles his eyebrows up and down. Emily giggles.
You're such a dork.
It clumps when you hold it.
Laughter from Emily. Low growl comes from the dense woods. Their heads whip toward the thicket.
It's all right. We have the fire.
Emily turns back. Her eyes widen. Scrunch. Bill's stomach bulges outward. He coughs blood from his mouth. Emily jumps up. A furry hand with 5 black claws tears through Bill's gut with Bill's liver in his palm. Silent fear anchors Emily. Urine soaks her crotch. It flows down her bare leg. The claws tighten around Bill's liver. Emily's bowl floats past her wetness, her bare legs. The bowl is inches from the ground when blood spatters Emily. The claws deep into the liver squish back through Bill. Bill wafts forward. His innards dangle. Bill thuds the hard dirt. His vacant eyes spark Emily to action. Frantic, she turns to run. She bounces off a muscled mass. A low, deep growl showers her head in mist. Emily whimpers. The dread rattles her body. She refuses to look up. Emily's voice trembles just above a whisper. Emily's feet leave the ground. Her legs thrash amid gurgles and chokes. Crack! Emily's legs sway to a stop. She drops on the ground, face up. Emily's lifeless stare drinks in the stars. A distant owl calls out to the night. Emily's head flops while rips, tears, chews engulf the campsite. Exterior, country, tree-lined road, day. The sun shines down on a jogger whose blonde ponytail bobs. Her long legs carry her frame over the pavement with ease. It is Rebecca Rose Healy, 20s. Her Nordic features glisten from her run. Honk, honk. Rose waves. A car travels by. It pulls onto the driveway just ahead. Rose jogs onto the long driveway. Exterior, Gothic mansion, driveway, day. Beth Jenkins, 20s, stands next to her car. She wears sunglasses. Her healthy chest strains against her swimsuit. A small bag's on the hood. Beth shows playful annoyance while Rose jogs up, shifts to a walk.
You promised me pool.
Helps clear the head.
Freak.
Rose walks by. Beth takes the bag, follows Rose up the steps. Exterior mountain, small campsite, day. Buzzing, a large shadow covers Emily's half-eaten corpse. It's Ranger Larry Talbot, 30s. His boxer's mug is deep in thought. He places a toothpick in his mouth. Ranger Rick Muldano's 20s baby face contorts into a grimace. He's a transplanted South Philly boy who brought his mobster accent and attitude with him. Muldano kneels next to Bill's carcass. Muldano's accent cuts through the air.
This makes 3 in 2 months. You used to think that bear attacked her and he tried to play the hero?
Every time you come back from Philly, you sound like Nicky Scarfo.
Muldano flips Talbot off.
Think they'll let us close the area?
This economy, I doubt it.
The coroner's van rolls to a stop nearby. Interior, Gothic mansion, Rose's room, day. A shower runs. Trophies in archery, track adorn the room. Candid pictures of Beth and Rose as young adult teenagers plaster a vanity mirror. The shower shuts off. Upstairs hallway, later. Rose exits her room with her purse and a small duffel bag. She strolls to the staircase, day. She hesitates at the rail, listens as she peers down into foyer, day. Virginia Mason, mid-40s, has a matriarchal elegance that masks forcefulness just beneath the surface. She is in vigorous debate with Diane Healy, 40s. Diane, minus Virginia's refinement, is no slouch. Her fierceness is clear against the barrage.
It's time, Diane, and you know it.
Virginia catches Rose at the rail.
Rosie.
Both women turn to Rose. Staircase, day. Busted, Rose bounces down.
Time for what?
Then with the pool.
Rose bounds into foyer, day.
It looked important.
Diane offers a cordial grin.
How are you and Vinny handling married life?
The two women engage in a brief stare down. Diane hugs Rose.
My girl isn't so little anymore.
It would seem.
Diane shoots Virginia the stink eye. Virginia fires it back. Diane contracts her embrace.
Okay, all right, don't tell me. I've got to run. Doctor appointment.
Rose pecks Diane, then Virginia on the cheek.
You two play nice.
Rose leaves the silence. Diane goes up the stairs.
Diane?
Not now, Virginia.
A serious Virginia strolls to opulent living room, day. She passes a large hearth on her way to the veranda doors. Above the hearth is a portrait of a virile, powerful man, 20s. He sits in a kingly chair with a wicked-looking axe. The brass nameplate reads, Seth Reinhardt, 1236. Exterior, cemetery, day. Talbot and Muldano, in civilian clothes, lean against their car while they spy a group of mourners around a gravesite for a service. Talbot chews on a toothpick. He looks down at the rear car bumper in front of theirs with a bumper sticker that glares back, Phew, is it global warming or am I just hot?
Why are we here?
Talbot turns to Muldano. Talbot removes the toothpick. He holds it like a cigarette.
It's called being human. Or aren't there any of those where you come from?
Talbot reinserts the toothpick.
How's that working out for you?
Muldano drags on a lit cigarette. Talbot watches. Muldano exhales.
Jerk off.
Muldano grins. The men refocus their attention on the service. It begins to break up. The mourners disperse. Talbot removes, flicks the toothpick away.
Let's go.
Muldano crushes out his smoke with his foot. The two men head for a sad old lady, 60s, in a chair surrounded by mourners. Beth, Rose, and Diane meander away from the crowd with one man in tow. It's John Healy, 40s. The only mark on his pleasant features is a faded scar along his jawline. The group saunters toward Talbot and Muldano. Talbot takes casual notice of the group while it strolls by. The two young women in the group have puffy eyes. Beth's swollen eyes meet Talbot's quick glance for only a moment before he turns away. Talbot and Muldano continue on.
Am I the only one freaked out here?
Stop. I'm sure they'll catch it before we go next month.
First it was Nick, now Bill and Emily. Maybe you guys shouldn't go to the cabin.
John stops, as does the group.
Hey kiddo, a bear's territory can cover 1,000 miles of wilderness.
But Dad,
Relax.
John hugs Rose.
It's probably in Canada by now.
They separate. John puts his arm around Rose. They commence forward. The rest follow. Interior Gothic mansion, parents' room, day. An open suitcase is on the bed. The bedroom door is also open. The British butler, Giles, early 40s, leaves a large closet with a shirt and pants. He is above average height, fit, and carries himself with military precision to the suitcase. Giles deposits the items in the suitcase. He moves toward the closet. Giles halts. He looks at the dresser with a sad smile and gentle grasp. He lifts a sister's frame. The frame holds a photo of Virginia and Diane. He caresses Virginia's cheek with his thumb.
In another life, eh, love?
Giles replaces it next to a plaque. This award is presented to John and Diane Healy for their amazing contributions to the Breast Cancer Fund, presented on May 4th, 2010. Giles continues his duty. Exterior Gothic mansion, pool, day. Diane and Virginia sit opposite each other on pool lounge chairs. Towels rest over the backs of the chairs.
Rose had another doctor appointment. John and I thought we were clear of it all, but not you.
I'm sure she's fine. We'll beat this one too. Come on.
The women rise, gather their stuff.
You guys head to the cabin. Rosie can wait until you get back.
The women embark toward the house. Interior Gothic mansion, foyer, day. Rose steps through the front doors. In a loud voice,
Mom? Dad?
silence. Parents' room, day. Giles straightens up from the suitcase. Rose's voice drifts through the open door.
I wanted to say goodbye before you left. Anybody here?
Giles is quick to remove his cell phone from his pocket. Texts John. Rose is here. He sends it. Foyer day. Rose walks to the kitchen. Day. Rose pops her head in. She glances around. She sees no one. Opulent living room. Day. Rose hurries through the empty room. She opens the doors to exterior, Gothic mansion, veranda. Day. Rose steps onto the veranda. She inspects the empty pool area. She walks back to the open doors. She stops. Diane and Virginia in swimsuits huddle with John and Giles next to the fireplace. They speak in whispers. Interior Gothic mansion, opulent living room, day. John sees Rose. He places a hand on Diane's arm. They turn to Rose.
Where were you guys?
Rose's perplexity is met by casual looks from the group. Interior, Sonnet Biochem lab area, day. Bright fluorescent lights shine on a clinical environment. Paul, 20s, is an emo, enough said. He writes in a folder. Janet, 20s, is perky. There's a spring in her step as she heads to lockers against a wall. Sandy, 30s, scans a printout in her hand through her glasses that give her that sexy lab assistant vibe. Rose studies a slide through the microscope. Henshaw's office, day. Books on genetics overstuff the shelves. The glass office has a clear view of the lab area. Dr. Kevin Henshaw, mid-50s, is at his desk. His salt and pepper hair accents his handsome look. The subject of the paper in his hand reads, Amsterdam Genetic Symposium. Henshaw crumples it, tosses it into the circular file. Folders and papers blanket his desk. They cover a computer mouse. A monitor sits, dark, thick with dust. He pulls a thick folder toward him. Lab area, day. Rose, incredulous, rises from the microscope, releases a short laugh. She covers her mouth.
I think she just snapped. It's so young.
Dr. Henshaw? Dr. Henshaw!
Everyone makes their way to Rose.
Easy, don't stroke on us.
What's going on?
Got me.
Henshaw hurries up, takes control.
Calm down, Rose. What is it?
Rose bursts with excitement. She points to the scope. Henshaw peers through. There's a nervous calm. Henshaw rises, astonishment on his face.
My God. You've done it.
Sandy takes a turn.
You know what this means?
Rose's nods are vigorous. Henshaw paces in thought. Sandy pulls herself away from the scope, smirks at Paul and Janet. Henshaw stops, checks his watch.
Gather your notes. Meet me in my office after lunch. I have some calls to make. It seems we have a new formula to explore.
Henshaw rushes a few paces toward his office, stops. He turns back to Rose.
Excellent work.
Henshaw hurries away.
This weekend, we party.
Damn straight. They say we hit O'Shea's.
You just want to nail the bartender.
Paul turns to Rose in a pathetic puppy dog manner.
You coming?
I can't. Vince and I, we're surprising my parents at the cabin.
Oh, no problem. Next time.
His hope in ruin, Paul leaves.
At some point he has to get it. Don't worry about him.
Have you seen his temper?
It's all huff and puff. He's harmless.
Sandy and Janet depart. Sandy turns, walks backward.
When you get back, we celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
Sandy turns forward.
We're still going this weekend, right?
God, you're a slut.
Rose smiles. Henshaw's office, later. Henshaw, in his chair, gazes out his office window in reverie. Rose appears in his doorway with folders in hand. Rose taps on the glass door.
Dr. Henshaw?
Henshaw swivels around. A smile shows off his bright white teeth. He stands.
Well, come in. Sit.
Rose eases down to sit when
So, this is the one.
stops her. Simon Connor, 60s, a small, corpulent fellow, saunters in.
Ah, Simon. Rose, this is Simon Connor, executive and money man of our little project here.
Hello, sir.
Simon, please. I understand the serum shows remarkable potential.
That's not the only thing.
If the serum can truly regenerate the protein that helps in cell repair for premature aging, many Werner syndrome sufferers will have you to thank. We are expecting great things from you, Miss Healy.
No pressure then.
I wouldn't go that far.
We should have a viable serum for testing in a few weeks.
Unfortunately, I've been encouraged to whore myself out at the symposium.
I know you hate these things, but it's important. Remember the investors. Keep up the excellent work, Mrs. Healy. Kevin.
Simon waddles out. Henshaw grins.
Let's get started.
Exterior, Gothic mansion, driveway, day. The hatch is open on Virginia's SUV. Rose exits the car. Curious, she walks over to the open hatch. A large steamer trunk that has seen better days stares back. Rose touches the latch.
Rosie,
Halts Rose. Virginia hurries down the steps toward Rose.
I've never seen this before.
Virginia, with a forceful politeness, nudges in between Rose and the trunk. Virginia closes the SUV hatch. She turns to Rose with a smile. Virginia locks the SUV. This is not lost on Rose.
What's in it?
nothing really.
You're acting weird.
Rose waits for an answer.
All right. Figured while your parents were away, I would do some weeding. It's just some old clothes and junk that your mother refuses to get rid of. You know how she is.
She can be a hoarder, but no need to get all 007 about it.
Gee.
Giles exits the house, makes his way to the SUV. Rose heads toward the house.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
She walks by Giles.
Hi, Giles.
Hey, love.
We'll be a while, so lock up when you leave.
I will.
Rose enters the house. Giles arrives next to Virginia.
That was close.
Interior lingerie store, day. Rose and Beth browse lingerie on a rack with other patrons nearby.
You're invited, you know. Your family.
Be a fifth wheel? Nah.
Dumped another one?
Hey, it takes a real man to handle twins.
Yeah, that's it. I have one more stop than heading to the cabin. What about this?
Beth wrinkles her nose, continues to rifle through items on the rack.
Vince isn't heading up with you?
Beth sneaks a shifty peek at Rose. Rose is oblivious.
He's coming later.
Beth pulls off an item.
Ha, with this he sure will be.
Rose's smile is decadent. She plucks the item from Beth's grasp. Exterior mountain, rustic cabin, night. A porch light shines. The slow crunch of tires on stone breaks the night silence. Headlights flash on the exterior, exposes her parents' SUV. A stump with an axe. The crunches stop. Interior, exterior, Rose's car, night. Rose's car is near a large propane tank. She shuts off the car. She emits a soft chuckle. She grabs her phone from the console. Rose texts Vince. Just arrived. Cabin's empty. Out for a stroll, I guess. I swear they are the newlyweds. She sends it. Rose looks down onto the passenger seat, smiles at Happy 25th Anniversary on the cake. The silence around Rose creeps in.
That bear better be in Canada.
Exterior mountain, family campsite, night. A halo engulfs the full moon. A campfire crackles. 5 fiery embers dance upward, each fades into the night. 3 young teenagers, Carl, Gary, and Damon, are on logs by a fire, quiet. Each holds a thin branch. They wait.
Found him.
The boys look to a group of tents. Julio, another young but stout teenager, falls out of a tent, protects the marshmallows on his way down.
Told you.
Julio pops up. He runs to the group. Julio plops next to Damon.
Come on, crack them open already, J-Man. Okay.
Julio takes 2 large marshmallows. He hands the bag to Damon.
You're always breaking my balls. Speako the Englisho, Julio.
You know he only does that when he doesn't want you to know what he's saying.
We've been friends since 4th grade. How do you not know a little Spanish by now? Whatever.
Violent rustles come from the bush. A rotund, bald Uncle Jim, 50s, stumbles out. A knife in a sheath hangs from his belt. His large belly interferes as he zips up his fly. Uncle Jim sits across from the boys. He starts his own marshmallows.
Uncle Jim, tell us a scary story.
Remember last time? You had nightmares for a week. Your mother didn't speak to me for a month.
Did you cry for your mommy?
I'll bet he paid the bed. Shut up.
Mommy, it's the hook man.
I was 8, you douches. It was a really scary story.
All right, knock it off. And you, watch your language.
The boys fall silent. Uncle Jim makes a s'more.
There's plenty in these woods to be frightened of. You have to respect them, otherwise they will swallow you up.
boys are frozen. Uncle Jim chuckles.
Relax, I haven't even started yet.
He brings the s'more to his mouth, sees the boy's marshmallows in flames, stops. The boy's gaze fixates beyond him. Uncle Jim's rise is slow. Their hollow stares follow him up. The boy's wide, fearful scrutiny centers above Uncle Jim's head. Uncle Jim is gradual yet deliberate to remove his knife. His brisk turn reveals swipe. An object flies through the air. A grotesque blob sends up a puff of dirt when it hits the ground. Uncle Jim's throat and the bulk of his face are gone. He topples rearward onto the fire. His legs jerk. His non-face gapes at the boys. The boys scream. They scatter toward the woods. Woods, night. Shrieks echo. They snuff out one by one. Interior rustic cabin, bedroom, night. Rose removes the sexy piece of lingerie from her open suitcase on the bed, then spreads it out close by. Exterior, family campsite, night. Julio, with one leg at an unnatural angle, is face down in the dirt. His quick breath disturbs the dry earth. Furry hand with black talons rolls Julio over. He screams. Dirt clings to blood from a nasty gash on his face. Claws dampen Julio's horrific cries as another open his belly. Amidst sloppy chews, Julio's whimpers grow weak. His breathing slows. A tear slips from his eye. It slices a path through the dirt down his temple. Julio is silent. Interior rustic cabin, bedroom, night. Rose closes a full drawer. She opens another, then goes to the suitcase. Rose smiles, reaches into her bag. She removes a small gift-wrapped box. Her smile brightens. A soft creak gets her attention. Exterior woods, night. A dark cloud kisses the edge of the full moon. Haggard, rapid breaths plow through the light overgrowth toward a pinpoint of light. Interior rustic cabin, bedroom, night. Small box in hand, Rose peeks around the bedroom door. A murky glow peers in from the large window at the end of the hall. A timid step places her into hallway, night. Leery, Rose compels herself forward. The dim light fades. Rose turns to the window to see the last vestige of it. She turns back. Rose places one hand on the wall to guide her. She takes a step. A creak freezes her. She begins again. Exterior rustic cabin, tree line, night. The heavy breaths explode into the open. Interior rustic cabin, living room, night. The gray moonlight slinks through the double doors that lead to a deck. It enlightens a sofa that sits in front of the doors. An upright lamp stands by the sofa. The brick fireplace is dormant. Rose, tentative, emerges from the hallway. She reaches for a light switch. A bright light bursts on Rose's face. Short, shrill screams from Rose. She backs against a wall. The light extinguishes.
Rosie, Rosie, it's me.
Rose slaps Virginia's arm.
You scared the crap out of me!
Virginia moves behind the sofa.
What are you doing here?
What am I doing here?
Shit.
Virginia paces. In the gloom, Rose notices Virginia carries something.
What is that? And why are you dressed like a ninja?
The front door crashes open. Rose screeches. Virginia whips up the item she holds. It's a .45 caliber SMG. She points the laser sight at the intruder. Rose goes silent.
Some help here?
Dad?
Virginia lowers her firearm. John carries an unconscious Diane. Both are dressed in black with light body armor. The twin to Virginia's weapon hangs from John's shoulder. John, his face bloody, sets Diane on the couch. His torn sleeve exposes a long, awful tear that bleeds. Virginia turns on the lamp, rests her weapon against the sofa. She examines a very pale Diane.
What happened?
Is that Mom?
A tourniquet sits above a gruesome slash that runs the length of Diane's thigh. Blood flows free. Virginia pries open the horrific wound. Bone gapes back. John is beside himself.
We heard the screams. It didn't feel right. She didn't wait. I told her to wait. And Charlie's men gone. All gone. They were kids.
John reins it in. His eyes connect with Virginia's.
They baited us.
Christ, we need to leave.
Virginia pulls out her cell.
What the hell is going on?
John swings about. He hurries to Rose.
Get out.
No.
John nudges Rose into gear. Rose slaps away his efforts. John manhandles Rose toward the front door.
Stop it! Let go! No!
Hurry.
Rosie? John and Rose stop. John rushes to Diane. He takes her hand. Virginia pockets the phone. She strokes Diane's hair.
You're gonna be fine, little sister. I love you.
Don't.
You have to tell Rosie.
We will, together.
No, John, no. It's time to end it. Tell her to.
No. No, 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 no. Come on, baby, stay with me.
Rose with cell phone in hand.
That's it. I'm calling 911.
John races to Rose. He slaps the phone out of her hand.
Are you nuts?
Virginia comforts Diane. Rose moves to pick up the phone. John grabs her arms.
Rosie, you need to leave this place. Get in your car, drive as far from here as you can. Tell no one where you go. You cannot call anyone. We'll take care of Mom and explain everything, I promise.
Rose's eyes focus beyond John, on the deck doors. He stiffens. His grip tightens on Rose's arms. John turns just enough to glimpse a large shadow move. He whips back to Rose and whispers,
Run!
John shoves Rose down the hallway. In a New York second, the small gift box flies out of Rose's hand toward the fireplace. Snarler, a furry, ripped behemoth of a werewolf, explodes through the doors. John realizes his error with Rose too late. The sofa, a hideaway bed, flips. The sofa topples Diane onto Virginia and anchors them to the floor. The lamp falls, bulb breaks. The massive hole from Snarler's entrance bathes the room in the moon's eerie luminescence. Snarler pins John by his throat to the wall. It lifts him off the floor. John pulls a silver-plated knife strapped to his thigh, buries it into Snarler's ribs. Its flesh sizzles. John twists the blade. Snarler growls, tosses John with ease. John's head strikes the fireplace. Snarler notices Virginia struggle to reach her SMG. The tip of her middle finger inches from it. Snarler pulls out the knife, tosses it. Blood oozes from the wound. Snarler contemplates Rose in the middle of the hallway, who stares back in horror. Then Virginia. It lumbers to hallway, night. A spooky glow shines in from the window. Rose scurries from the menace that approaches. She hits the end of the hall. Snarler reaches Rose. Its gargantuan mass towers over her, blocks any escape. She fixates on saliva that drips from bright white sharp teeth. Boom! A slug slams through Snarler's shoulder. Fur, blood, and bones splatter into the air, on Rose. It roars. Rose turns fetal. Snarler whirls around. Giles is in assault gear. He holds a shotgun with a battle strap.
Come on, you fucking tosser!
Click, clack, boom. A slug rips away flesh from its side. Giles advances. Click, clack, boom. Click, clack, boom. Click, clack, clack. Exterior, rustic cabin, night. Boom. Snarler crashes through the window. Glass and wood fly. Interior, rustic cabin, hallway, night. Giles stands in the hallway. Smoke rises from the barrel of his shotgun that challenges the large hole.
Oh my god.
Click, clack. Giles swivels. Levels the shotgun on Vince Rodno, 20s. He's broad at the shoulder and narrow at the hips. He holds the axe at his side. He wears a shirt that says, Rodno Demolition, more bang for your buck.
Whoa, whoa.
Vince!
What are you doing here, mate?
I heard.
Vince!
I'm going to...
Vince eases past Giles. Shotgun follows him. Vince reaches Rose's outstretched arms. He places the axe on the floor. Rose latches onto Vince. Giles gives the shotgun a quick kiss.
Thanks, love.
Giles!
Giles rushes to living room, night. He races to Virginia.
Rosie?
She's fine.
Giles heaves the sleeper aside, reaches for Diane. Virginia swipes his hand away. Hallway, night. Vince holds Rose. His exterior is calm, but jaw clenches and tight lips say different. Rose is in a fog, but aware.
Vince, it can't be, right?
Vince eases Rose to her feet. Living room, night. Giles examines John. Bulbous gray matter oozes out of John's skull. Giles doesn't notice the crushed gift box beneath John's arm. Virginia rocks her dead sister. Tears stream down her cheeks. Giles kneels at Virginia.
We need to get started.
Vince and Rose appear.
No!
Rose is torn as to which dead parent to go to. She rushes to her father. She is inconsolable. Giles reaches up to Virginia's cheek, like with the photo in the bedroom. This time his thumb caresses away a tear.
I'll take care of everything.
With his finger on the trigger, Giles rises. His purposeful stroll crunches glass on his way to the exterior rustic cabin, deck, night. Sobs come from behind Giles. He stops in front of the deck rail. His steel gaze pierces the night. The full moon sits high. Its radiance illuminates Tilly on the battle strap. Giles's grip tightens on the weapon. His knuckles turn white. Interior, rustic cabin, living room, night. Rose pulls the squashed gift box from under John's arm. She opens the box. Through watery eyes, she pulls out a sonogram of her unborn child. Interior, Gothic mansion, opulent living room, night. It's black as pitch. The dead quiet envelops the room. Pour, clink, rustle. An orange flame illuminates Virginia's face. She ignites a cigarette. Rose's room, night. Rose is in a vivid nightmare. She jolts awake with a silent scream. Upstairs hallway, night. Rose erupts out the door. Opulent living room, night. Dull, frantic footsteps echo in the darkness. The cherry moves upward, glows, travels downward, exhale. Parents' room, night. Rose throws open the door. The room is empty, pristine. Staircase, night. Rose dashes down into foyer, night. Ting echoes into the foyer. Rose stops. A small light shines from the living room. Opulent living room, night. An apprehensive Rose enters. Virginia pours, replaces the stopper on an empty decanter. Rose seats herself on the sofa. Virginia takes the glass.
Would you like one? More for me then.
Virginia drinks. She extinguishes her cigarette.
I see the sedatives wore off. Sometimes they mess with your head.
I'm fine.
Your mother was strong, you know. She lived her life, and in the midst of all this,
Virginia's soulful gaze penetrates Rose.
I've been so stupid.
Auntie Janine, please. I know what it was, but
Virginia moves next to Rose. She cradles Rose against her chest. Virginia's fiery glare burns through tearful eyes onto Seth's portrait.
You don't know anything yet.
Virginia releases Rose. Her rise is slow. Her humble stride carries her to the fireplace. She pushes on a panel. It slides open to reveal a hand scanner. She uses it. The scanner display reads, "Access granted. Welcome, Virginia." The floor opens in front of the fireplace. A faint light shines up the stairs. Virginia extends her hand. Rose, uncertain, stands. Several tentative steps guide her to Virginia. She clasps Virginia's hand. Rose is fearful of the mysterious light. She turns to Virginia.
where's Vince?
Guest bedroom, bathroom, night. A shirtless Vince splashes his face. He touches a Gaelic tattoo over his heart while he gazes into the mirror. He reaches into his pants pocket, retrieves a pendant. He places it around his neck, then leans over the sink, head down. The pendant sways. Secret vault, night. Rose emerges in awe. She absorbs the room. Urns blanket one wall. On another wall is a bench next to a door where various weapons and katanas hang. An old trunk is under the bench. John's gear is in a box next to it. His knife, in its sheath, rests on top. Virginia stands between a Victorian settee and a pedestal with a velvet cloth that covers a thick, square object. A portrait of an older, battle-weary Seth is in his chair, surrounded by two women in their 20s and a young boy of 10. Seth's badass axe rests in a place of honor below the portrait.
What's all this?
The family business. Sit.
Virginia removes the velvet cloth. The chronicles of Father Grimm stare up at her. Virginia casts her eyes to the portrait.
We all know the story of the young girl and her grandmother, but the girl wasn't just some character in a cautionary tale. Her name was Catherine Reinhardt. She was 15 and the catalyst that brought monsters to our doorstep.
Virginia turns around, meets Rose's blank expression.
You need to make a choice.
What choice? How can this be?
We don't know how or why. Some of the myth is true. The change is anchored to the full moon. They can't stop it. Silver hurts and weakens them. Enough of it will kill them, but it's not like the movies. They need time to heal.
Virginia sits next to Rose.
They keep their numbers low and their lifespan is relatively short, thank God. They are tough to kill, but removing the head does the trick. Our family has been very good at what we do. After Yellowstone, there were no more signs. It seems our hubris has gotten the better of us.
Rose cocks her head.
Yellowstone was 20 years ago. We spent the summer there. You guys were hunting.
It's what we do. Christ, we thought we got lucky with the recent kills around the cabin, and that there was only one. What happened there was a coordinated attack. John, Diane, and I were supposed to die there.
It almost got me too.
No, honey, it didn't. It takes an extremely violent, strong-willed alpha to maintain control of its pack, and they don't show mercy. I think the alpha wants you for his pack.
No way. Why?
Your perfume, breast size, the shape of your ass, who knows? But it has gone to a lot of trouble to make you alone and vulnerable.
Then why didn't it just do it?
A full moon never appears at the same time every month. This is because the lunar calendar is shorter than the one we follow. That extra time adds up, so every 2 or 3 years, we get 2 full moons in a month. The second full moon is called a blue moon, and it is 26 days away.
Rose studies the young boy in the portrait. Virginia turns to the portrait. She focuses on Seth.
That's when all werewolf bites become infectious.
This wasn't in the vows.
Both women rise, turn toward Vince. He is against the stairwell, shirt on, with his arms folded over his chest.
How long have you been there?
Long enough.
Oh, this sounds crazy, I know.
Vince moves forward.
All this is a long way to go for crazy.
I'm scared.
You should be.
Virginia heads to the stairs. Vince arrives next to Rose.
At least it's not vampires. They don't exist, right, Auntie Ginny?
Read the book. I need a drink.
Virginia glides in front of the very first urn on the bottom shelf. The nameplate reads, Catherine Reinhardt, 1231. Opulent living room, day. The warm light of dawn bathes the room. A weary Virginia emerges from the stairs. She stops at the mantel. Virginia handles a happy photo of John and Diane. Her eyes moisten.
Is there anything I can do?
Virginia wipes her eyes. She replaces the photo, turns. Giles places the cap on a now full decanter.
It appears you've done it.
Virginia pours a finger of liquor into an empty glass.
Perhaps you've had enough.
Perhaps I have.
Virginia throws back the contents.
I need what we have on Vince.
Virginia replaces the empty glass, leaves. A wistful Giles watches her depart. Interior Gothic mansion, Giles room, day. The walls are bare. There is a bed with a dresser nearby, a desk, and several large file cabinets. Each cabinet has an iron bar over the drawers held in place by a heavy-duty lock. Giles enters. Giles strides to one of the cabinets. He frees the cabinet drawers, retrieves a folder with a picture. Giles strolls to his desk, settles at it. A photo of his military unit sits toward the corner of the desk. Giles turns his attention to another framed photo in front of him. It's of a happy woman in her 20s with a wide smile beneath a Happy Birthday Matilda banner. He whips open Vince's folder. Exterior demolition site, day. The gutted cement structure stands solitary under the blue sky. Vince emerges with a clipboard. He marches to a construction trailer. Interior demolition site, trailer, day. Jerry, mid-50s, is somber behind his desk, his hands folded on top. Vince barges in towards his desk. The clipboard snaps on his desk as he drops in his chair.
It wasn't supposed to happen like this.
You shouldn't have waited so long to tell her.
I know, Dad.
You need to stay focused, Vince.
Vince glares. Exterior Gothic mansion, veranda, day. Rose, deep in thought, is at the table. Virginia strolls out with coffee in hand. She settles across from Rose. A fresh newspaper rests between them. Search continues with photos of a boy of 10, Billy Claymore, and a girl of 8, Amanda Claymore, is broadcast on the front page.
No Vince?
Jerry needed him at the site.
You read the book?
Vince thought we should talk about things. I don't want this life. It's insane. And there's Vince. Even though he's taking this better than I am, he doesn't deserve this. None of us do.
Virginia sips her coffee. Rose touches her belly.
They would have been so happy. I get it. You can go away. No one should know where you are. We'll give you instructions in case you don't hear from me or Giles.
What about Vince?
No one. I'm sure he'll understand.
Giles is solemn as he enters the veranda.
I heard from the landscaper. The design specified already.
Thank you.
Giles leaves. Virginia stands.
Auntie Ginny, everyone deserves happiness.
You are more like your mother than you know. I think you should stay here until arrangements can be made.
Rose opens her mouth,
I really think it's best.
clamps it shut. Virginia leaves Rose to her thoughts. Interior Gothic mansion, foyer, day. Giles waits for Virginia at the stairs with Vince's folder. Virginia walks up to him. He hands off the folder.
We need to dig into everyone she knows or has ever mentioned.
I'm reviewing the files, see if we missed anything. Charlie's doing what he can.
Leave Charlie to me.
Giles ankles to leave.
Giles,
Giles turns back.
Losing you a bit too much. For Rosie, I mean.
Intercut veranda and foyer. Rose stands, takes a few steps away from the table. A tiny spasm comes from her belly. Another, more painful.
I'm glad you're here to keep watch over her.
Another pang doubles Rose over, collapses her to her knees.
Did the landscaper say when?
Aunt Jenny!
Exterior mountain, family campsite, day. The sun's rays glare on the horror. Talbot, apart from the chaos, scans the carnage. Figures in white go about their duty. Dark patches in the otherwise dry dirt encase various body parts. 2 figures zip up Julio in a body bag. A lone figure places a small leg into a bag. 2 more figures remove Uncle Jim from the ashes, knife and s'more in death grips. Another figure retrieves Uncle Jim's face.
I've never seen a bear do this.
Talbot turns around to the tree line behind him. His earnest inspection reveals fresh holes in several trees. Muldano, away from the others, is cautious while he peruses the edge of the camp. CSI Steve Dukowski, 20s, picks up an item from the brush. He places it in a Ziploc bag.
Ranger Talbot? Muldano.
What you got, Dukowski?
Dukowski hands Talbot the bag. Talbot examines the bright, shiny bullet case that gleams through as Muldano walks up.
We got a blood trail too. Heads off in the woods. Mr. Thinkins.
What the hell happened here?
Talbot lobs the bag back to Dukowski.
Let me know where the trail leads. Have them search 20 yards beyond the perimeter. And I want to know what's in those holes over there.
Where you going?
Someone called in 2 bodies at the bottom of Razor's Ridge.
Fuck. I'll bet they let us close up now.
Interior hospital hallway, day. The hospital hallway is clear. Vince and Jerry barrel through double doors. They rush to Virginia, Giles, and Beth, who hang on every word from an intern, 30s, who has already had a long shift. The 2 men close in.
Be caused by extreme emotional stress? She'll be all right in a couple of days. I'm sorry.
Vince buckles under the news. Jerry guides him onto a chair. Vince slumps forward. He places his head in his hands. Interior hospital, Rose's private room, day. Giles and Virginia stand at the foot of an apathetic Rose in her bed. Vince is on one side of the bed. Beth, in a chair, is on the other. They comfort Rose with their touch. 2 soft knocks from the door. Everyone looks.
Hey, sweetie.
Sandy holds a huge vase of flowers as she comes toward the group. Paul and Janet file in behind her. Henshaw, moving a little slow, brings up the rear. Sandy sets the vase on a table. Henshaw stays to the background, away from the others, as the group crowds Rose's bedside. Rose gazes around the cluster of family and friends.
I don't know what I would do without you guys.
We're all here for you.
Beth caresses Rose's forehead. Vince kisses her hand. Virginia takes the hand of an austere Giles. Janet dabs a tear. Henshaw, face tense and a little pale, looks on. Interior, exterior, Gothic mansion, driveway, Rose's car, day. Storm clouds gather. Rose is in her car. Her numb gaze penetrates the windshield, but she sees nothing. A few drops of rain speckle her vision. Rose blinks. She gets out. Interior, Gothic mansion, opulent living room, day. Virginia's posture in the chair commands the room. Ranger Talbot is on the sofa. He writes in a small notebook. Beth sits at the very end of the sofa.
Is that everything?
I believe so.
Thank you for allowing me to look around the cabin.
That's quite all right. It is kind of you for waiting to do this. It's been difficult.
Rose appears at the edge of the living room.
Here she is.
Rose ambles in. Talbot stands. Beth rushes to Rose. They embrace.
Rose, this is Ranger Talbot.
Beth and Rose go to the sofa.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Rose's thin smile is polite. Talbot has a glint of recognition when he sees Beth and Rose together.
Have we met?
Everyone sits.
I don't believe so, no.
I'm sure I would remember.
Talbot's brow furrows in thought. He taps his pen on the pad.
Mr. Talbot?
Yes, of course. I apologize. Miss Mason and I have covered a lot, so I'll make this brief. Did they mention anything to you about climbing that rock face?
No.
Your husband is Vincent Healy?
Rod, no. I kept my maiden name.
I see. Was he there?
No.
Beth shows a moment of confusion, but stays silent.
Did you or your parents hear any gunfire?
Virginia rises.
Will that be all, Mr. Talbot?
Giles appears on the edge of the room.
If there is anything else pertaining to John and Diana, please call. Giles will see you out.
Miss Mason, Mrs. Healy, thank you.
Giles leads Talbot out. Virginia turns to Rose on the sofa. Beth is beside her.
We'll talk later.
Virginia strolls away.
I thought you said Fitz was going.
I did. Something came up.
Rose melts into the cushions. She eases onto Beth's lap. Beth strokes Rose's hair.
You've lost so much in such a short time. I'm sorry about the baby. You can take some comfort though, knowing your parents died, living their life. They got to see you grow up, get married, and be happy. Mine never did, so that's something.
Rose whimpers. Exterior Gothic mansion, front steps, driveway, day. Gray clouds meander overhead. Talbot comes down the steps onto the driveway, stops. He looks at the back of Rose's car. Whew, is it global warming or am I just hot? Is on a bumper sticker. A distant rumble of thunder travels through the clouds. A soft, steady rain begins. Talbot jogs to his truck. Interior Gothic mansion hallway, outside Rose's room later. Virginia stands in front of the closed door. Hesitant, she taps on the door.
Rosie?
Virginia turns the knob, steps into interior Rose's room, day. The melancholy strikes Virginia. The rain hits the window in soft waves. Through the cheerless light, Rose's trophies and medals for archery, track, still blanket her room. Rose is a lump under her blanket. Virginia switches on a small nightstand light. It shines on a purse, used tissues, a bottle of sedatives, and a photo of John and Diane. Rose holds a tissue in one hand. She cuddles the sonogram in the other.
We need to talk.
Leave me alone.
Honey, you need to understand.
Rose bounds out of bed. Virginia backs up on her heels.
I understand plenty. This life all of you chose out of some warped sense of duty kills everything. So don't stand there and act like you give a damn.
Yes, what we do demands sacrifice, and the price we have to pay for this warped sense of duty may be too much, but make no mistake, without it the cost would be much greater.
Says you!
That's right! You've seen them, what they've done. These aren't the pretty dogs of teenage romance. They are vicious, brutal, and they are after you. I won't let that happen, no matter what you may think of your parents or me.
I'm just so damned angry. And I feel empty.
I understand, but you are not the only one who hurts.
You're right. I can't stay here. I'm going home.
Rose puts her shoes on, drops the tissue with the others. She tosses the pill bottle in her purse. She shoulders it as she beelines for the door.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I really don't care.
Rose pushes by Virginia to the door.
Rose, wait, please.
Stops Rose's hand on the doorknob.
Hiding isn't an option anymore. You need to be careful, but you can't worry what you were feeling. You need to use it.
Rose leans her forehead against the door, then notices the sonogram in her hand.
How exactly would I do that?
Interior Gothic mansion, secret vault, day. Rose hurries down the last few steps into the vault. She marches over to the open door on the weapons wall into the training room, day. Giles, on a large mat in the middle of the room, is at parade rest. Rose enters. There's a small gun range, a table with 2 katanas that sit next to 2 .45 caliber SMGs with full mags. A bench press sits along other exercise equipment.
Ready?
Let's go.
Montage, various, A, training room, day. Giles throws Rose onto the mat again and again, each time she pops up, ready for battle. Rose fires the SMG. The target remains whole. She turns the business end on Giles. He snaps it from her. B, opulent living room. Day. Giles programs the access panel with Rose next to him. She places her hand on the scanner. The scanner reads, access granted, welcome Rose. C, country tree-lined road, day. Dawn breaks while Rose runs. D, training room, day. Giles instructs Rose on the katana. He squeezes her hand onto the hilt. They wage war with katanas. With a deft move, Giles whirls Rose's katana from her hands.
Again!
E, Sonnet Biochem, lab area, day. Rose hands Dr. Henshaw a vial with purple liquid. His bright smile accents his pride for Rose. F, apartment, bedroom, night. A small bedside lamp glows on Vince and Rose in bed, asleep. Small Wars manual rests on Rose's chest. G, training room, day. Giles leaves an opening for Rose to take in hand-to-hand combat. The ploy works. She hits the mat hard. Rose fires the SMG. Target is intact. Rose shrugs. Giles shakes his head. End of montage. Training room, day. Rose clears the weapon. She sets it down. Rose lingers.
Spit it out, love.
My family I get, but you? How do you know all this stuff?
Giles takes a moment.
I was SAS a long time ago. Your family added other skills. Like most, I lost someone. Before she died, I made her a promise. Your family has let me keep that promise.
What was it?
Giles's cold stare unnerves Rose.
Our objectives are our own. In this, they are all that matter. I want 5 miles before dawn.
Rose understands. She places her fists on the small of her back, leans backwards.
I need a bath.
Rose limps away. Giles removes his cell from a pocket. He dials.
Hi, Charlie. I have a special request. Very special.
Interior apartment, bedroom, night. Vince is in bed. Rose, beat, enters the bedroom in nightclothes. She climbs in next to Vince. She cuddles with him.
It's really put the screws to you, huh?
Isn't that obvious?
I was thinking, we can try again.
Rose sits up on one elbow.
Are you thick? I'm not bringing a child into this. No way. When the alpha is dead and we're free of this, then.
Rose searches Vince's face.
Okay. Understood.
Rose eases back down on Vince's chest. She doesn't see Vince's look of worry. Exterior rustic cabin, day. Talbot's truck sits in the driveway. Interior, Talbot's truck, day. The half of a generous pastrami sandwich sits on a wrapper on the dash above the steering wheel. Talbot bites into the other half in his hand. Muldano bites into a fresh cheesesteak, scowls. He spits his mouthful into the bag. The cheesesteak follows.
Maroon. How fucking hard is it?
Have you tried our pizza?
Muldano slams Talbot with an up yours look.
I'd give my left nut for a Philly taco right now.
What?
Man, ain't nothing like a whiz wit wrapped in a slice.
Talbot is speechless. Muldano eyeballs the pastrami half on the dash.
You gonna eat that?
Talbot looks at him, relents. Muldano takes the half, dives in, and with his mouth full.
What do you expect to find this time?
Talbot looks at Muldano. Muldano smiles while he chews.
What are you? Amish?
Talbot looks toward the cabin.
The labs came up empty, but the dogs, they follow the blood trail here.
Muldano sips from his drink.
Except for some remodeling, it's clean.
These attacks remind me of a cereal my dad never shook. After the guy was killed, they discovered he belonged to a cult called the Colony. They committed suicide by locking themselves in a barn, setting it on fire.
No shit. You're overthinking it. All we have is a rogue grizzly.
Talbot turns back, sees Muldano devour another bite. Interior Gothic mansion, opulent living room, day. The murmurs of dozens of people for John and Diane's wake drift through the melancholy. Beth and Sandy with drinks are at rest on the sofa with Rose. Rose surveys the room. Paul and Janet intermingle. Unfamiliar faces occupy the room. Dr. Henshaw, his intense gaze on Seth's portrait, holds a drink. He switches the drink to his other hand, then sips the contents.
I thought Dr. Henshaw was supposed to go to Amsterdam.
Guess he got out of it. Mr. Connor and some higher-ups are there now. They aren't happy. Dr. Henshaw's love of paper is making it difficult to present.
Beth browses the room. She spots Jerry. Virginia approaches through the crowd.
Where's Vince?
He's at the site. Something about an explosives delivery.
Really?
His mother was 6 months ago, Beth. It's fine. You know how close they were.
Virginia reaches Rose.
There is someone who would like to see you. He knew your grandfather and hasn't seen you in such a long time.
Rose goes off with Virginia. They stroll through the room.
Who are all these people?
Through the generations, our family has touched many lives. Those that can help us in their own way, and the ones that could wanted to pay their respects. Some have come from very far away, which is why we had to wait to do this.
The two women continue on.
I hear Rose is a big deal.
She's very important to us.
Beth spies Ranger Talbot.
I should mingle.
Beth leaves. Sandy sips her drink with a keen eye as she views Virginia and Rose with a man by the open veranda doors.
This is Charlie.
Charlie Cotton, mid-60s weathered face, hosts a well-trimmed gray mustache and chin beard.
Hello, Rose. Words are inadequate.
Who are you?
We have a lot to talk about.
Beth approaches Talbot with a calm determination, but Talbot studies the threesome across the room.
Hello again.
Talbot gives Beth a half-hearted acknowledgement.
So, you're a naturalist?
Excuse me.
Beth squares her shoulders, which push out her twins.
You know, being a ranger and all?
The Trinity exit to the veranda. Interior, Gothic mansion, secret vault, day. Virginia is next to Rose. Giles is on a ladder. Rose hands Giles an urn. He places it above a Diane Healy nameplate. Giles climbs down. He folds up the ladder. Rose strolls up to the wall. Virginia urges Giles to leave. He does. Rose touches an urn.
Your grandmother, Rebecca Mason. Diane named you after her, but when you realized you had the same middle name as the rose bushes, the rest is history.
I don't remember that.
Come.
Rose stares up at her parents' urns, her hand on her grandmother's. Virginia leaves Rose alone. Her mournfulness turns to anger. Rose turns her bitter gaze to the portrait above the pedestal, then the book. Exterior, abandoned warehouse, night. Dusk looms over the 3-story dilapidation. From the 3rd floor, bright flashes of blue light, then red. A boom, crashes, screams. A flash of blue light. A large piece of abandoned machinery hurls out a 3rd floor window. Interior, Gothic mansion, secret vault, night. Rose is on the settee, book in lap. The Black Forest Witch stares back. Rose turns the page. She reads the page, flips to the next one. Rose goes blank. Artwork of Vince's pendant and tattoo mock her. Dismay engulfs Rose. She stands. The book falls. Her autopilot takes her toward the vault entrance. Exterior, Gothic mansion, driveway, night. Twilight bathes an apathetic Rose as she exits in running gear. She puts in earbuds. Interior, Gothic mansion, training room, night. Shirtless, Giles pumps out angry reps on the bench press. He finishes. He wipes away sweat with a towel. Ugly claw scars run down his chest over his heart.
We all have those.
He is quick to grab a nearby shirt, then put it on. Virginia's soft stride carries her toward Giles.
They're just scars.
We both know they're not. You can't kill them all.
Exterior, country tree-lined road, night. Rose's stoic expression cracks. She explodes into a furious run. Intercut training room and tree-lined road. Virginia is very close to Giles. He's apprehensive. Her tender touch runs over the unseen scars. She rests her palm on them.
Virginia, I...
Made a promise as well. And it's taken me a lifetime to see the foolishness of it. You couldn't save her.
Virginia peers deep into Giles' eyes, whispers, "Save me." Their passion explodes. Rose's pistons pump with fury. She begins to cry. Giles' hands hold tight to Virginia's butt cheeks while she rides him on the weight bench. Rose comes to a stop on the grassy roadside. She is spent. Her chest heaves. She battles to hold back the waves of tears just beneath the surface. Virginia is on the verge of an orgasm. A breeze rushes over the treetops. Rose crumples to her knees. The wave breaks. Rose wails as she pulls, tears at the ground, beats it. She screams upward. Interior apartment, living room, night. The television news is on mute. Anonymous tip leads to recovery, accompanies photos of the 2 missing children. Vince, weary, is on the sofa with his phone to his ear. He holds frozen peas on his ribs.
I never realized how much it took out of her.
Your mother would be proud. This was your first, but you still have things to learn. You got the mixture. It'll help.
The door unlocks.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Vince hangs up. Rose enters. Vince rises. He winces, tosses the peas on the sofa. He meets Rose.
Sorry, I had to...
Rose's right hook dazes him. She knees his groin. Vince moans. He sags to the floor. Rose plants herself on his chest, rips open his shirt. The pendant and tat taunt her.
What was your plan? Huh, asshole? When were you gonna tell me? You fucker!
Rose unleashes. Her fists tenderize his chest. Vince struggles to grab her wrists, captures them. Rose screams. Her face twists with anger. She bites his hand. Vince grimaces. She draws blood.
God damn it!
With blood on her lips, Rose struggles against Vince's tight hold. Their eyes lock in battle.
Enough! Enough! I'm sorry, Rosie, I'm sorry, but tell me, how do you fit my family hunts witches that get their power from eating children into a conversation?
Rose cools. Vince releases her. Rose gives him another hard slap. She slides off onto the floor next to him. Vince sits up.
Our families aren't all that different.
I'm not the one with the secrets.
And if you were, we couldn't believe it, a Reinhardt descendant. It seemed like your family abandoned their legacy. I was scared, Rosie.
Did you really think I wouldn't find out?
Obviously, I didn't think it through.
Rose scoffs. She stands. Vince extends a hand. Rose is contemptuous.
Please.
She acquiesces. Vince's stance is unsteady. He leans against the sofa. Vince massages his jaw.
Wimp.
Jaws is a hell of a teacher.
Jesus Christ. I got a demonic drill instructor on this side, werewolves on my ass over here, and a warlock for a husband. How did all this happen?
Vince picks up the frozen peas and is careful as he places them on his groin.
Well, to be accurate, warlocks are bad.
Rose glares.
Some other time. So what now?
I don't want any part of this horror show. You know that. If you want to be with me, you got a choice to make.
Rose storms out. Behind Vince, the television displays news footage of the abandoned building with a newscaster in front. Interior, Sonnet Biochem, lobby, night. Rose searches her purse as her and Sandy stroll toward the doors. A few feet from the doors,
Damn it.
the women stop. Dr. Henshaw approaches from behind, his attention on papers in his hand.
What's wrong?
I left my phone in my lab coat.
I'm out of here.
Rose turns. She jams into Henshaw.
Ah!
I'm so sorry.
Henshaw coddles his shoulder. Henshaw forces a smile through his agony. His white teeth gleam.
It's fine. I'm good. Started a new workout. Good night.
Rose watches Henshaw favor his shoulder while he exits. Rose has an epiphany. Saliva drips from bright, white, sharp teeth. Henshaw switches the drink to his other hand, then sips the contents. Boom! A slug slams through Snarler's shoulder. Fur, blood, and bones splatter into the air on Rose. Rose, with a blank expression, stands alone in the lobby. Interior, training room, day. Rose and Giles are in a savage contest with the katanas. Rose's strong, irate pursuit allows Giles to counter with ease. He places the blade to her throat.
You're learning, but your fire won't save you.
Both sheath their swords. Rose shadows Giles to the gun range. Rose hands Giles her sword. Rose loads the SMG. She fires it. The target is unscathed. A sheepish Rose clears the weapon.
That settles it. Follow me.
Rose trails Giles to the secret vault, day. Giles and Rose approach the bench. John's gear is still under it next to the trunk. The duo stops at the bench. An oblong case is on it. Giles nods to Rose. Giles places the swords where they belong. Rose opens the case. She looks down at a compound bow with arrows.
Beautiful.
It's apparent your talents are elsewhere.
I've never seen heads like this.
Rose plucks an arrow from the case. Giles, with smoothness, relieves her of it.
Careful, sweetheart. Inside is an explosive gel compound surrounded by tiny pellets. When it explodes, they disperse as shrapnel.
Rose is gentle when Giles hands it back.
Sometimes you scare the hell out of me.
Good.
Giles walks away. Rose replaces the arrow. She takes out the bow, tests it. Rose replaces the bow in its case. She closes it. She sets it on top of the trunk. Rose notices her father's gear with the knife on top. She takes the knife, removes it from the sheath. Rose wonders at the dried blood where the blade meets the hilt. Interior, Sonnet Biochem lab area, day. All work at their stations. Henshaw is at his desk. Stacks of folders surround him. The computer mouse is upside down on a mountain of folders on the floor next to his desk. A secretive Rose prepares a dried blood sample for a machine. She turns it on.
What are you doing?
Christ, nothing. What's up?
Paul steps in her personal space. Rose takes a step back.
Doesn't look like nothing.
Paul,
Henshaw stands in his office doorway.
come here.
Paul gives a shy smile. He leaves a shaken Rose behind. Exterior, Gothic mansion, veranda, day. Virginia is at the table with an empty plate to the side. A stack of folders is next to a phone. Giles steps onto the veranda. Virginia taps Sandy's file that sits on top of the stack.
She seems clean.
Virginia examines Henshaw's open file.
She could have been in a den this whole time.
Our resources aren't what they used to be.
Charlie's too, apparently. After the cabin, he's in recruiting mode. Damn it. The moon rises tomorrow. We got squat. Call Vince. We stay in the vault until the moon passes.
Giles reaches for Virginia's plate. She places her hand on his arm. Her schoolgirl grin infects Giles. Giles leaves with a wide grin. Virginia turns back to Henshaw's open folder. Her brow furrows when she delves deeper into it. Interior, Sonnet Biochem, lab area, day. Rose is on a stool at her station. She tries to appear busy. She is oblivious to her nervous leg. A clipboard slams on a lab table. Rose jumps, her leg stops. Paul argues with Janet. What is said can't be heard, but Paul's close proximity to Janet and his aggressive gestures make her fearful. Ding, starts Rose. A printer spits out a piece of paper. Under her breath,
Get it together, Rose.
Rose retrieves the paper. She hurries back to her station. Rose sneaks another paper from her pocket. She compares them. Rose fights to control her panic. Rose scans the room. Paul works with a tense Janet at her station. Henshaw leaves the lab. Sandy's soft smile greets Rose. Interior, Gothic mansion, kitchen, night. Rose, Virginia, and Vince sit at the table with coffee cups. Giles stands next to Virginia. 2 pieces of paper, along with the Henshaw folder, are on the table.
The genetic samples we've been using matches the blood on Dad's knife. It has to be Henshaw. Christ, all this time.
Vince wears a company shirt that reads, "Rodno Demo, we blow shit up."
Son of a bitch.
What exactly does your serum do?
It corrects a gene to stop premature aging. Werewolves? I don't know. My God, what have I done?
What did you say?
We had stuff to do at the cabin.
After the blue moon, we'll introduce ourselves.
No. We know where they're gonna be.
So?
Rose's head turns to Giles. Her gaze affixes to his. He nods.
She wants to set a trap.
That's crazy. Listen to Virginia. Live to fight another day. Now that you've got a beat.
You really think he's just going to chill out until another blue moon? No, he'll go underground and kill everyone I love while he waits.
You don't know that.
Rose's glare is forceful.
That's what I would do. I want this bastard dead, Vince. He's destroyed enough of my life.
Vince is taken aback.
Okay, so what's this ingenious trap?
It's me he wants.
Rose, Virginia, and Giles trade looks. Vince is thunderstruck.
You've got to be kidding me.
Rose's granite poise ends that discussion.
Charlie should be able to help with getting rid of the research. As for the cabin, we are short of a few items.
Giles's gaze begs a question of Vince.
Nuh-uh. No way. You know what we have to do to get that stuff?
Just tell me where it is. I would suggest that the rest of you leave for the cabin. Once I have what I need, I will join you.
Shit. What about me?
This isn't your fight.
Oh, it sure as fuck is now. I'll be his lookout, and then we can meet you at the cabin. That's it.
We leave in 20.
Giles departs.
What's his story? Is there a Butler Commando school no one knows about?
Virginia's compelling look unnerves Vince.
What?
Hansel and Gretel, huh? Well done in hiding it. We could use a little magic.
Mom would have been more help than me right now. I'm still going through her grimoire. We always thought we had time. But everything has a price, right? The tattoo protects me against various magics, but it's not perfect.
Rose's departure is brusque.
I would burn the world for her.
Give her her time.
The evil in this world is winning, Virginia. But generations of sacrifice is enough.
Virginia's slight nod and soft smile agrees. Interior, Gothic mansion, secret vault, night. Giles pulls out the trunk from under the bench. Tilly, on the battle strap of the shotgun, catches his eye. He pulls down the shotgun, sets it on the bench. Giles gives it a light, loving stroke.
One last time, love.
Exterior, demolition site, night. Silence shrouds the skeletal structure. Interior, exterior, Vince's truck, night. Vince's truck lights extinguish as it stops several dozen yards from a chain-link fence. Vince turns off the truck.
There's a guard that patrols this site about 50 yards past those large containers. You'll see a smaller one sitting alone. There's a titanium lock, so...
Giles darts from the cab with a small duffel bag.
Prick.
Giles runs to the fence. He cuts a hole. Giles wriggles through. Exterior, demolition site, night. Giles creeps along a container. He peeks around it. A guard, 30s, approaches with a lit flashlight. His physique bulges through his uniform. Giles whips out an expandable baton. He steels himself. The guard strolls by. Giles begins his creep from behind. Crack! The guard about faces in shock. Giles charges. The guard faints. Interior, exterior, Vince's truck, night. Vince is nervous. He checks his watch. Low bang. Giles squirms back through the fence. He dashes to the truck, places the full duffel in the bed. He removes something from a side pocket before he gets in.
Let's go.
You see the guard? Is he all right?
He'll be fine.
Vince faces forward. He starts the truck. Giles injects Vince with a syringe.
What the fuck?
Vince's head thuds against the driver's door window. Exterior mountain, rustic cabin, SUV, night. Stones crunch as the headlights of an SUV come up the drive. Interior, seedy motel, lobby, night. The interior appears as if 1972 didn't get the message. The sign on the counter advertises hourly rates. There's a buzz as Giles walks through the door.
Hello?
Manager, mid-30s, hobbles out from the back with a cane.
Reservation gone, yeah?
Room's all the way at the end. The car's in front.
Manager places 2 sets of keys on the counter. Giles takes the keys.
You don't remember? Isle of Skye? 22 years ago? You and your wife rented the upstairs. Mom started going out once a month. Dad thought she was having an affair. That night, he wouldn't let her leave. If your wife hadn't... You and that woman did the right thing.
The manager limps away. Giles touches his chest. Echoes of distant roars. A boy yells, "Mummy!" A woman screams, Virginia's voice, "The head! Take the head!" Exterior, rustic cabin, SUV, night. Rose opens the back. Virginia and Rose each grab a handful of the truck. They heave it out. Exterior, seedy motel, Vince's truck, night. The room door is open. Giles opens the passenger door. He grabs an unconscious Vince, drags him into the dark room. Giles closes the door. Interior, seedy motel room, night. Click, the room light reveals stains on the ceiling. The velvet rose wallpaper peels at the corners. Giles drops Vince face down onto the bed. He places Vince's keys on the dresser.
Sorry, mate, but if she survives this, she's going to need you.
On his way out, Giles extinguishes the light, then shuts the door. Interior, rustic cabin, living room, night. The trunk thumps when Rose and Virginia set it down.
Let's unpack the gear and get some rest. It'll be a busy day tomorrow.
Virginia opens the trunk. The bow case, 45 SMGs, silencers, magazines, boxes of ammo, and katanas are visible. Interior, seedy motel room, day. Vince's drool stains the spread. Faint, dirty talk from a hooker seeps through the thin wall.
Oh God, yes!
Soft, slow, rhythmic pounds thud against the wall with erotic moans. Vince struggles to wake up. Thuds, pounds, grunts. Vince rolls out of bed onto the floor. He crawls to a dresser. Slap.
Fuck yeah.
Vince steadies himself. He jars the cobwebs from his mind. He grabs the pendant, the tribal cacophony of grunts, bangs, moans, or boisterous. Vince's lips move with an incantation.
Give it to me. Yes! Yes!
Blue light engulfs his hand for a moment. It dissipates. Vince gazes into the mirror with a clear head. He ignores the sex sounds.
Not cool.
Oh,
Vince swipes his keys off the dresser.
my...
Door slams. Interior, rustic cabin, bedroom, day. Virginia and Rose are on the bed. The click of ammo into magazines disturbs the silence. Rose places a full mag with others. Giles enters, clad in gear.
You understand what you have to do.
From debate, lure, semantics.
The one thing these wankers love more than the kill is the hunt. Once you get close to the cabin, run like hell.
What about the rest of them?
Henshaw will want them to witness your turn, so they will be close. After he's gone, confusion should set in, and that will give us a chance to mop up.
Virginia will have the front. Her fire should slow them down enough for you to get inside.
Giles removes a detonator from his vest pocket. There's a switch on the side with a button on the face. Green and red LEDs are on top. The LEDs are dark. Giles removes a sensor from another pocket. Flips the detonator switch. The green LED lights.
This means the sensors are live.
Giles breaks the beam from the sensor. The red LED glows.
If any gets past Virginia, my suppressing fire should keep them pinned long enough for you to clear, as soon as you do.
Giles presses the button. A short tone sounds out.
And Bob's your uncle.
Rose nods. Giles flips the switch off. The lights go out. Rose grabs a mag. She thrusts bullets into it.
Vince said he would be here.
Virginia raises her gaze to meet Giles.
I'm sure he'll be along. Once they are gone, we can focus on what's important.
Getting out of this freak show.
Virginia and Giles give hopeful smiles to one another.
It'll be dark soon. I'll give this to you when I'm done.
This ends tonight.
Exterior, mountain, country road, general store, day. If it wasn't for items in the window, the rickety building would appear abandoned. The throaty sound of Vince's truck is heard before seen. The truck wheels lock, smoke billows. Interior, general store, counter, day. A veteran, 70s, reads a magazine behind the counter. Vince enters with purpose. He stops, scours the store. The veteran closes the magazine.
Looking for something special, young man?
Vince sees the Soldier of Fortune magazine in front of the veteran. Vince grins. Exterior mountain, wooded path, night. The full moon is bright. The leaves crumple in the fog that overlay a section of the path. Rose steps out. She wears a light coat. Rose adjusts an earpiece.
How long do I need to freeze my ass off out here?
Patience.
Better be right about that hunt thing. Why couldn't we call in reinforcements or something?
It's not like ordering a pizza.
Crunches, faint growl.
I hear something.
Rustles, crunches.
Start making your way back.
The noises stop. Rose strolls.
Now that I think about it,
Her pace quickens.
this is a really stupid plan.
Rustic cabin, front, night. Virginia, in gear and earpiece, surveys the area through her thermal scope from the tree line. The front of the cabin is in full view. The faint glow of headlights turn onto the long drive.
We got company.
Virginia's intense gaze never wavers from the headlights. The soft crunches from the tires get louder. Her shoulders slump. Wooded path, night. Rose stops, peers behind her. She sees no one.
It's Vince.
Rustic cabin, rear, night. Giles stands by a tree some distance from the rear of the cabin. Tilly hangs from his shoulder. He witnesses Rose's heat signature bolt.
Bollocks!
Wooded path, night. Rose runs while rustles, cracks, snaps within the woods keep pace. Rose stops by a tree. She peers into the woods. She's alone. A distant howl bellows. Rose swats away at a pile of leaves. She uncovers her bow with the explosive arrows attached. She continues on at a breakneck pace. Rustic cabin, Rear, night. Through Giles' scope, the thermal hit of Rose takes off, along with a much larger one.
Game time, you bloody shits.
Snap. Wooded path, night. Rose rushes onward. A roar and a spatter of gunfire cause Rose to stumble but not fall. She leans against a tree. Blackie, a werewolf of intimidating size, steps from behind a large tree. It inches toward Rose. Rose fights her fear as she plucks an arrow. She readies it. Blackie stops. Its stance is confident. Blackie dares Rose with a jerk of its head. It emits a low growl. Rose's anxiety takes hold. Her arm quivers as she releases. The arrow speeds through the air. Rustic cabin, front, night. Vince exits its truck by the propane tank. He runs around the back of it. In his hand is a large, sheathed jungle knife. Boom! Halts him. Growler, a small, thick-set werewolf, emerges from the woods behind Vince. Virginia rushes from cover, weapon ready.
Run!
Vince whirls around. Growler tramps toward Vince. Thump, 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 thump. Virginia's continuous fire forces Growler backward, pins it to the tank. The slugs jackhammer Growler against the propane tank. Roars. The tight bullet patterns in Growler's massive chest smoke. Virginia releases the empty clip. Vince dashes for the cabin. Growler recovers.
Not the cabin!
Vince stops. He spins around. Virginia reloads. A low growl behind Virginia. She pivots. Snarler's eyes greet hers. It wallops her. She flails in the air. Her weapon sails away. She lands hard. Vince attempts to go to Virginia. She holds out a bloody hand to stop him.
Run! They don't want you! For God's sake, run!
Virginia spits up blood. Growler advances on Vince. Vince's pendant burns with a fiery blue light. He thrusts out his hand. The blue light shoots into Growler's chest. Growler rocks backward several steps. As the blue light burns the flesh, new flesh grows.
Kill it!
I'm trying!
Vince grows weaker. Rose spurts from the path. She skids to a stop.
Holy shit.
Vince stops his bombardment. Growler advances, as does Snarler. Although weak, Vince stands his ground as protector between Virginia and Growler.
Bring it!
Vince bears the knife. He tosses the sheath. Virginia crawls. Rose rushes to her. Growler charges. Vince removes its arm at the elbow. Roar! Vince edges away. The arm grows back.
You never said they could do that. Why didn't you say they could do that?
They aren't supposed to.
Rose draws back an arrow.
Vince!
Vince looks over his shoulder. He begins a mad dash for the cover of the SUV. Rose sights on the propane tank. She releases, drops to cover Virginia. Explosion! Concussion wave ripples. Fire and metal annihilate Vince's truck. Growler rides the wave through the air. A plume of fire follows but dissipates. Growler slams hard into a tree. A piece of metal cuts it in half. Snarler smacks the ground. Vince hurls over the SUV. He strikes a stump. He's unconscious, out of sight, the knife still in his hand. Interior, Talbot's truck, moving, night. The full moon sparkles in the cloudless night through Talbot's windshield. He yawns. An orange ball of light tints the sky in the distance. He reaches for his radio. Exterior, rustic cabin, front, night. Rose pulls on Virginia. Snarler is motionless.
Cal, leave me.
Snarler stirs.
Get your ass up!
Rose tugs.
My ribs.
Rose witnesses Snarler's ominous rise.
Move it!
Both women dig deep as Rose forces Virginia up. Rose pushes Virginia toward the cabin. Virginia gimps forward. Blood trickles from her mouth while more drips from her fingertips. Rose swivels to Snarler. It storms toward her. Virginia grabs the handrail. She turns to the action. Rose sights on Snarler with her bow loaded. Snarler stops. Its animal inhale, exhale, accompanies crackles from the nearby flames. Snarler's eyes narrow. The yellow glint of the fire that burns reflects off Rose's eyes.
Dr. Henshaw, I quit.
Roar! Rose unchains the arrow. Explosion! Pieces of Henshaw rain down. Plop, 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 plop. Relief floods Rose. She inspects the area for Vince. From her vantage point, she notices a leg by the SUV. She makes a move.
I have to get me one of those.
Rose freezes. The familiar voice punches Rose in the gut. Virginia's head jerks around. Beth steps out. She wears a shirt and shorts.
Impossible. You're always way behind the curve. It seems you have a choice to make, Rose.
Rose removes the armed detonator from her coat pocket.
So what's it gonna be?
Rose confronts her vein. Her thumb hovers over the button. Beth's grin is smug.
Finish it. It's the only way now. Do it!
The LED goes dark. Virginia lowers her head.
Drop it. Now, the bow, inside.
Rose doesn't move while Virginia makes her way up the stairs into the dark cabin. Beth looks at Rose.
You got nowhere to go.
Interior rustic cabin, living room, night. Giles is on the floor against a wall. He bleeds from grotesque wounds on his neck and face. Virginia slogs by the sofa where Tilly and Giles Katana rest. Virginia expels blood spittle as she eases down the wall.
Come on, I haven't got all night.
Well, this was a cock-up, eh?
Not one of your better plans. Can you move?
Can't feel my legs. You?
Virginia coughs. A fine red mist punches through the air.
I don't have much longer.
Virginia places a hand on his cheek. She caresses it with her thumb. Giles savors her touch for the moment. His bloody hand with a second detonator touches hers.
You're a regular Rambo.
Exterior rustic cabin, porch, night. Beth waits for Rose to enter. Rose seethes hate. Beth grins. Rose crosses the threshold. Beth surveys the area. Interior rustic cabin, living room, night. The deck doors are open as Rose sprints to Virginia. Rose kneels.
I'm sorry.
Virginia stretches out her hand. In it is her phone, SUV keys.
The first chance you get, press 99. Password Pompeii.
I can't.
You have to. You're all that's left.
Beth enters. Rose rises with her hands in her coat pockets.
Good help is so hard to find. I gotta say, stereotypes, not always a bad thing.
Rose takes a tentative step toward the open deck doors. Blackie appears in the deck doorway. Its mass fills the gap and freezes Rose. It removes a bloody tree shard from its side. The wound closes.
Say, hi Paul. Sit down, Rosie. Let's be adult about this.
Rose defies her. Beth snaps her fingers. Paul rushes forward. Rose plants herself next to Virginia. Paul heads to Beth.
So, Aunt Ginny, I hear Yellowstone's a great vacation. Family fun for everyone. Yeah, your stench was easy to follow.
The girls' room, it was empty.
Aren't sleepovers the best? Tell me, did you take my brother's head in his crib before or after you did my parents'? We never took one human life.
Like it matters. You're abominations.
No. What we are is the top of the food chain.
We vetted you.
Your system blows.
You'd know all about what blows, wouldn't you?
Where was that bite a minute ago?
Rose averts her eyes from Beth's challenge.
Why now? That time of the month?
Dying with a sense of humor. How manly. It's the change I see. It shortens our lives. When my uncle heard Rosie here wanted to go into genetic research, well, revenge plans are fluid after all.
It was a lie. All of it.
I could be a movie star.
You couldn't have known that I would come up with the serum.
No, but what are the odds? Seriously. It was just delicious that you would be a part of it, and when the time came, for you to know it.
Beth removes a vial of purple liquid from her pocket.
Great stuff. But who can survive being blown up and cut in half? I mean, really. Also, it doesn't last long, though. It could use some tweaking. Interested?
You're insane.
You know, I really am sorry about the baby. Soon, though, you'll raise your ass in the air like any other bitch in heat. With Paul here, you can have a whole litter.
Fuck you.
Rose wants no part of this life. It's over when you kill me.
Like it matters.
Your pack is gone. Others will come for you.
The great Reinhardt clan. It is truly amazing how dim you are about all things.
Beth pets Paul. She is contemplative. Virginia eases her leg up. Rose sees Virginia slide out her hand, which covers the detonator. Virginia nods toward the deck doors, and then she flips the switch on the detonator. Rose fights her emotions. Virginia's tender air says goodbye.
I think you deserve a treat.
Remember, love, the objective. It's all that matters.
Virginia slips the detonator back under her leg. Rose wipes a tear from her eye. She locks away her pain. Rose stands up.
That's true, and it's time to reach mine.
I'm gonna cut your head off.
Beth places the vial on a small table.
Yeah?
Beth disrobes.
It isn't all that bad. Ask Janet and Henshaw. Wait.
Rose creeps toward the deck doors. Paul emits a low growl.
Oh, okay. You're going to make this fun. All those bedtime stories they tell little wolves? Turns out the boogeyman isn't so scary.
Beth crunches, pops, rips. Paul approaches the wounded duo. Rose, halfway to the doors, stops. She turns around and locks onto Virginia.
Go!
Rose spurts to the open doors. A primal yell. Rose stops, turns. Paul whips around. Vince buries the large knife into Paul's side. Roar! Vince removes it.
Run!
Rose watches Vince hack away at Paul. Paul retreats from the onslaught. Blood splatters through the air onto walls and ceiling. Beth continues to change. Vince thrusts the knife into Paul's midsection. Paul clasps Vince's head. He squeezes. Vince concentrates through the pain. The pendant glows. A blue light spreads through Vince's muscles. Paul's jaws open. Paul lunges. His throat meets Vince's hand. Vince holds Paul's throat. Paul's jaw snaps inches from Vince's face. Saliva sprays with every snap.
Hungry?
Vince jams the knife through Paul to the hilt. He drives Paul backward. Thud impales him to the wall. Vince jumps back. Paul swipes his massive claws outward. Vince's innards seep through his fingers. Rose hurries to him. They turn to escape. Beth blocks their path to freedom. In all her glory, roars. Rose helps a weak Vince lean against the wall next to Virginia. Paul removes himself, the knife still in the wall. He falls to his knees. Blood drips from his many wounds, which heal slowly. Beth heaves the sleeper sofa out of the way. Rose extracts Virginia's katana. Rose is fearless.
Come and get it, bitch.
Beth shoots forward. Rose parries, slices a red sash across the behemoth back. Gash smokes. Rose charges. She thrusts the katana forward through Beth's lower back, twists the katana, which severs Beth's spine. Roar! Beth falls to a push-up position. In a single moment, Rose raises the katana to take Beth's head. Beth swipes Rose's legs out from under her. Rose slams to the floor, katana in hand. Rose is in a slight daze. A faint glow from Vince's pendant ebbs on and off. Beth's gash heals. She drags herself to Rose. Beth creeps over Rose. Rose's head clears. She jabs the katana into Beth's abdomen. Beth growls. She leans into the sword to its hilt. Hiss! Their eyes lock. Beth's fangs go deep into the meat of Rose's shoulder. Rose shrieks. Rose digs her thumbs into Beth's eyes. Howl. Beth's eyeballs pop. Gelatinous goo drips over Rose's hands. Paul is almost whole again. He doesn't notice Virginia slide out the hidden detonator, but Vince does. Rose drives deeper into Beth's eye sockets. Virginia's finger moves over the button.
No!
Vince directs a brilliant blue flash at Paul and Beth that heaves them across the room. Vince slides down the wall. Virginia moves the live detonator under her leg once again. Rose gets up. She fights through the pain to a semi-conscious Vince. In agony, Beth removes the sword. It sizzles on the way up. She tosses it aside.
Once she's gone, you'll be all right.
One of Beth's eyes reform. Virginia coughs. A thicker mist propels outward. Paul begins to stir. Beth's leg twitches.
Just go, sweetheart.
We got these hairy slags.
Rose helps Vince up. She steadies him the best she can as they hurry to the patio doors. Rose turns back for one last look. Virginia and Giles nod. The young couple escapes out the door. Paul rises anew. Beth stands tall with one eye still not complete. She lumbers to the deck doors. A pale Giles clasps Virginia's hand. He squeezes it. Virginia turns to him.
In another life, eh, love? I'll find you.
You better.
Giles dies. Beth sniffs the air at the doors. Paul saunters to Virginia. He crouches. Paul's breath engulfs Virginia. She grimaces in disgust. Her defiant gaze meets Paul square in the eye.
Is that from licking your balls or your ass?
Paul's snarl exposes his large, sharp yellow teeth. Virginia slides out the detonator from under her leg. Paul leans in. Virginia gives no quarter. She squeezes Giles's hand. The corner of her mouth upturns just a bit. Paul rips away Virginia's throat. Virginia turns to meet Giles's dead eyes. Her finger twitches over the button. Virginia blinks once. Blood bubbles from her open esophagus. as her last breath escapes. Short tone. Beth's head whisks around, her one eye on the vial. Exterior, rustic cabin, SUV, night, explosion. Debris rockets in all directions. Wooden chunks shatter the driver and backseat windows. Glass showers Rose. A large piece of wood shoots through the back seat. It takes off the passenger side door.
Jesus Christ!
Rose starts the SUV. She speeds away. Interior, SUV, moving fast, night. Stones bang, rattle the undercarriage. Vince is in the passenger seat. The seatbelt helps hold his guts in.
This is bad, Rosie.
Vince battles his heavy eyelids.
Don't you die on me. Don't you do it.
You're right. This sucks.
Interior, exterior, Talbot's truck moving fast, night. Talbot's cherry lights flash as he rushes up on the driveway. An SUV erupts out.
Jesus.
Talbot punches the brakes. The tires squeal. Interior, SUV moving fast, night. Headlights along with the full moon light the way. Rose takes out the cell phone. She dials 99. Vince fights to stay present.
I didn't mean it, any of it. You can be a warlock if you want.
Rings emit from the SUV speakers. Vince's head lolls toward Rose. An anemic grin crosses his lips.
But warlocks are...
Vince loses consciousness. Bits of entrails seep over the strap.
Vince! No! God damn it. Come on, pick up!
Hello?
Pompeii, you mother...
We have you, Rose. Coordinates are being sent to your nav now.
Exterior, rustic cabin, night. Havoc looms all around Talbot. Faint sirens approach from the distance. A piece of propane tank is in a tree with Janet's bare halves in proximity to it. There's a pile of mush with human legs. Talbot faces the fiery remnants where the cabin stood.
Rogue grizzly my ass.
A sinister growl from the woods whirls Talbot around. Interior, surgical theater, day. The room is ablaze with sterile light. 2 black body bags are on 2 stainless steel gurneys. A burnt shotgun is on top of one body bag. 2 harsh sentinels guard the room, their weapons tight. Charlie stands next to Dr. Kind, 50s, who is in bloody scrubs and a surgical mask.
It's remarkable, really. Seems there's a limit to what the serum can do.
Charlie nods. He ambles up to a 3rd stainless steel gurney. He takes in the crispy critter from bottom to top. It is minus a left leg and part of the right. Its left arm is gone. An IV drip connects to the right arm.
The pain meds help, somewhat.
A fearful, bloodshot eye stares back at Charlie.
Can it hear me?
It's aware.
Hello, Paul. It seems the game has changed. I've heard wolves are the most loyal of beasts. This is Dr. Kind. They'll be taking care of you.
Charlie steps back. Dr. Kind takes his place, his crow's feet wrinkle. Dr. Kind shuts off the IV. Exterior, city sidewalk, day. The sun is high and bright. A breeze rustles the small branches on the trees that line the sidewalk. A female passerby snuggles into her coat. Rose strolls along on her cell. She carries a clutch purse.
Between the surgery and the mixture Dad is bringing, I should be good soon. That Dr. Kind is a funny guy. Great bedside manner.
Did the nurse arrive?
You had to specify a male nurse.
You bet your ass.
Sandy stopped by, left a casserole. She's pretty broken up. Charlie doesn't think she's connected, but he's going to keep an eye on her. The lab fire was nice. It was a nice touch. Charlie thinks of everything.
Good thing Henshaw didn't trust computers. Winston and the security team are there, if you need anything. Is everything in place?
Almost.
Interior, hospital room, day. Muldano drinks from a straw by a window. He bites into a half-eaten pizza slice. A low groan fills the room. Alert, Muldano places his items on the hospital bed tray table next to a glass and a pitcher of water.
Hey, Bud. Larry.
Talbot's eyes flutter. Muldano hurries to the door. A nurse, 20s, is busy at the nurse's station.
Nurse? Excuse me, nurse. He's waking up.
I'll get the doctor.
Nurse leaves. Muldano returns to Talbot's bedside. Talbot is groggy.
Welcome back.
What? Where am I?
You're gonna be fine, Pisano.
What happened?
Muldano pours water into a glass.
Well, we were hoping you could tell us. Here, drink some water.
Talbot drinks as an Indian physician, 30s, enters with a large smile on his face with his hands in his lab coat pockets.
Finally, we were beginning to wonder.
Muldano takes the empty glass. Talbot notices the slice.
Coming to the dark side?
Bite me.
Let's take a peek, shall we?
The physician removes a penlight from his pocket, checks Talbot's eyes.
Good. Follow my finger. Excellent.
He replaces the penlight. The doctor removes Talbot's gown and then checks under the large bandages on Talbot's chest.
Oh, Jesus.
That's okay. I'm a doctor.
The physician retrieves an iPad mini from the lab coat pocket. He taps on it.
You lost a lot of blood, but I must say, Mr. Talbot, you have a unique constitution. You're healing extremely well.
What's the last thing you remember?
Exterior, city sidewalk, day. Rose is casual as she inspects the storefronts on her walk.
So, we're doing this?
I'll be home soon. I love you, Vince.
I love you too, baby.
Rose disconnects the call. She stops in front of a shop with double doors. She places her phone in her clutch. A prideful young mother pushes a stroller that approaches Rose. The mother beams at Rose. Rose replies with a cordial smile. The mother glides by. Rose's smile vanishes. She enters the shop. Bells jingle. Interior, hospital room, day. The physician checks a monitor.
Then everything is blank.
Damn.
It's going to take time.
How's the investigation?
The fathers were barely out when the guys in suits shut this out. That was weeks ago.
What?
Theory is it was shrapnel that tore yous up.
Mr. Talbot needs his rest.
Sure thing, Doc.
Talbot adjusts in the bed.
Oh, shit.
Tough New Yorker, huh? Yous guys talk tough.
Hap yours.
I've ordered a sedative to take the edge off. Except for the amnesia, Mr. Talbot, you're extremely lucky.
Yous hang there. Relax, get your strength back.
The physician and Muldano make their way out.
Thanks, Doc. Hey, Rick.
The doctor exits. Muldano stops. He grins.
We bragged the grizzly 2 days ago. Let's say later I come back with a pastrami on her eye.
Talbot sighs.
Sure.
Interior, boutique clothing store, day. Rose, halfway into the store, sees the owner, 50s. She's a portly woman who hurries toward Rose with open arms.
Darling!
The women hug.
Poor thing, I can't imagine.
They separate.
It's been hard.
Well, I think you'll be quite pleased.
The women delve deeper into the store. Interior, hospital hallway, day. Relief pours from Muldano as he enters the sparse hallway. He walks by a man in a chair, his face deep in a magazine, a ball cap low over his forehead. Exterior, Gothic mansion, outbuilding, day. Vince limps with the help of a cane the last few steps to a windowless, single-story brick building the size of a small barn. He reaches a metal door. Vince touches a panel. It opens. He places his hand on a scanner. He leans in for a retinal scan. Thunk, thunk, thunk. The door cracks open. Interior, outbuilding, vestibule, day. Vince hobbles in, then through the meanest open safe door anyone has ever seen, into soundproof room, day. Bangs, hisses from welders get louder as Vince hobbles through, up to Charlie.
You guys are quick. What about the lab Rose wanted?
All set.
Interior, hospital room, day. Talbot rests with his eyes closed. There's a click of heels on the sterile floor.
I could use those trunks about now.
A soft touch on Talbot's arm makes him flinch. A radiant Beth in a lab coat gazes down at him.
You'll be better than new soon.
I know you.
Beth's sly smirk lingers for a moment. She turns away. She ambles to the door, then stops. The nurse drifts past Beth, gives a covert, familiar nod. Beth shoots Talbot a seductive glance over her shoulder. Interior, boutique clothing store, day. Rose stands in front of a mirror.
We don't get a lot of requests for something like this. Everyone will know it's you for sure. Should I wrap it?
I don't think so. Send my coat and bill my account. Oh, there's one more thing.
The owner hands the bill in a leather holder to Rose. Rose gives her a piece of paper in exchange. Rose signs her name.
You can do this now?
It might take a few minutes.
Rebecca R. Healy, in bold script, stands out on the signature line.
I'll wait.
Rose closes the bill. With a gentle smile, hands it back to the owner. Interior hospital hallway, day. Beth exits Talbot's room. Her authoritative swagger down the long hallway makes her lab coat flow. She cruises by the man with the ball cap and magazine without a thought. He raises his head. Dukowski pulls out his cell. Interior soundproof room, day. Charlie's phone rings. He looks at it.
Excuse me?
Charlie steps away, answers his phone.
Yeah?
Intercut between Charlie and Dukowski. Dukowski stands.
You're right.
He studies the nurse.
The hospital has been compromised as well.
Get me a photo. Cleanup will arrive shortly. You know what to do.
Roger that.
Dukowski hangs up. He snaps a photo of the nurse, sends it off. He follows Beth. Interior soundproof room, day. A small crew works on a large silvery steel cage. Charlie comes up to Vince.
You sure?
It's a tungsten alloy coated in silver with an electric charge that will level a rhino. It'll hold until she's able to control it.
Any word on Beth?
She'll be ours before nightfall.
This plan. I don't know, Charlie. Rose should just take Beth's head, be done with it.
With the new intel, Rose can take her head any time before the next blue moon. After that, the change is permanent.
I know, it's just... What if Beth doesn't give up her cells?
An impish grin lights up Charlie's face.
Everybody breaks.
Exterior boutique clothing store, sidewalk, day. Rose exits the double doors with a flourish, clutch purse in hand. She wears a red riding cloak. RRH is emblazoned on the left breast. Cloak's crimson waves billow from a stiff breeze as Rose's purposeful strut commands all that lay before her. Fade out.